All right, let's get right into a really critical topic, sling safety. I mean, think about it. We're talking about lifting loads that weigh hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds. There's just zero room for error, right? And so often, the line between a smooth, safe lift and a total disaster, well, it all comes down to the condition of one single piece of gear.
So let's start with a question, just to get us thinking. When you look at a whole lifting operation, the crane, the heavy load, all the rigging, what do you think is the most vulnerable part? The answer might surprise you.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of it. The weakest link often isn't the giant crane or even the operator's skill. It's the sling itself. Its condition is, without a doubt, the single most critical factor for a safe lift. The power to prevent a major accident is, quite literally, in your hands.
Okay, so how do we actually build that foundation of safety? Well, it's not about guessing or just hoping for the best. It all starts with a formal, structured process. Regular, required inspections. This is the absolute bare minimum for any sling to even be in service.
And listen, this isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's a formal requirement, defined by industry standards like ASME B30.9. A periodic inspection isn't just a quick glance. It's a deep dive, documented examination by a qualified person. You can think of it like a full-on health checkup for your most important lifting gear.
Now, this table makes it super clear that inspections aren't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. If a sling's in what we call normal service, yeah, a yearly check might be enough. But for severe service, we're talking harsh environments or really heavy, constant use, you've got to be inspecting it as often as every month. The big takeaway here? The harder you work the sling, the more often you need to check it. Simple as that. All right, now we're getting to the most important part of this whole training session. Knowing how often to inspect is one thing, but knowing what you're looking for, that's everything. These are the red flags, the absolute deal breakers, the conditions that tell you immediately that a sling is unsafe and has to be retired. First up, let's focus on the most obvious signs of danger: physical damage to the sling's body. This is the kind of wear and tear you can see, the stuff that directly weakens the material's strength.
And this image is a perfect and pretty scary reminder. You might look at a small cut like that and think, it's not a big deal. But when you put a multi-ton load on it, that tiny cut becomes a massive failure just waiting to happen. The fibers are broken and its capacity to hold that load is dangerously, dangerously low.
So it's absolutely vital to be on the lookout for these specific things every single time you inspect. A knot, for instance, seems harmless, but it can slash a sling's capacity by up to 50%. Any one of these conditions means the sling's structural integrity is shot. It fails the test, and you have to get it out of there.
Next, let's talk about how the environment you're working in can silently and very dangerously break down your equipment. See, damage isn't always from a cut or a tear. Sometimes it's just from what the sling is exposed to. These two pictures show a couple of major invisible threats. On the left, you've got heat damage. Heat can literally melt or char the fibers in the sling, making them brittle and super weak. And on the right, you see chemical damage, which can cause burns and just slowly eat away at the material's strength.
These are critical warning signs. If you see melted spots from something like weld spatter, or patches that are discolored and stiff from UV rays or chemicals, or any signs of burns, that sling's material is severely compromised. You just can't trust it anymore. And finally, let's cover what happens when you can't even tell what the sling is. Because if you don't know what a sling is rated for, there is no way you can use it safely. This is an immediate fail.
And this right here is the proof. A sling's ID tag has all the crucial safety info: who made it, what it's made of, and most important of all, its rated capacity for different kinds of lifts. If you can't read this tag, you are operating completely blind.
You have to remember this, because it's a hard and fast rule across the entire industry. If you cannot read the tag, the sling's rated capacity is 0. It's useless. It has to be removed from service on the spot. Period. No exceptions.
So now we know what to look for, right? We've got physical damage, environmental damage, and ID problems. So what is the single most important action you must take the second you find a problem? This right here, this principle is the heart of a strong safety culture. There is no room for doubt. There's no, maybe it's okay for one more little lift. The moment you identify a flaw that fails the inspection, that sling has to be taken out of circulation. You tag it, do not use, so you can protect the next person who might come along and grab it. And this slide shows you the final crucial step. Just tagging it isn't enough. To permanently, and I mean permanently, remove a dangerous sling from the work site, you have to destroy it. You cut the body, you cut the eyes, and you remove the tags. This makes absolutely sure it can never be pulled out of a scrap bin and put back into service by mistake.
Of course, the best way to deal with damage is to stop it from happening in the first place, right? Proper use and proper storage are every bit as important as a good inspection.
You know, following these simple but incredibly effective best practices will make a huge difference in the life of your equipment. Using corner protectors, storing slings properly up off the ground, avoiding shock loads. These are all fundamental things that help maintain a safe work environment and, most importantly, protect lives. In the end, it really all boils down to this one question. When you pick up a sling and you rig a load, you are betting your life and the lives of your coworkers on the condition of that piece of equipment.
So the key thing to take away from this whole explainer is that safety isn't passive. It's an active choice. It's a professional responsibility you have to make before every single lift. Inspect your gear, know the risks, and if there's any doubt in your mind at all, then there is no doubt. Take it out of service.